graduated in 2011 with a sociology degree. And so, of course, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But then since then, you secured a PhD. Last year, you graduated and you've gotten a job at Arcadia University as a professor of sociology. So I wanted to ask you first, how do you, recall your experience at St. Cloud State and how it helped you prepare for going on first to graduate school?
Well, I guess in a word, I would in 2 words, it would be eye-opening, I suppose. Coming into St. Cloud State, especially the sociology department, I had no experience at any other college or any other university, and I really didn't know what sociology was. When I started going to classes at St. Cloud State, it just really opened up my mind a lot to social issues going on in the world, to current events, to kind of locating myself socially and historically. And once I sort of adopted more of a social perspective, it became something that I wanted to keep building and building and building. So I think something I appreciate with the classes at St. Cloud State were the emphasis on direct research, direct engagement. I found myself within having a few classes, I was already doing ethnographic work. I was writing about a lot of different issues from religion to labor, and I was writing too, and there was an emphasis on writing. So there was also an emphasis on, in my experience, smaller class sizes and discussion. So that kind of direct research, thinking in terms of discussion, reading and writing, and doing it on social events, social issues. It was something that I just kept wanting to build and build. So that's what led me to want to go to PhD and to a PhD and essentially make a career out of it. Once I got to grad school, I think I was prepared pretty well because a lot of the classes, a lot of the courses were seminar based. It was a lot of reading, and then coming in and having a discussion about it, having a conversation about it, and also writing papers and doing direct research. So it only kind of emphasized more and more and more what I had been doing at St. Cloud State already. So yeah, I think I was pretty well prepared going into graduate school.
What was your dissertation on?
So I did my dissertation at Binghamton University, State University of New York, Binghamton. So it's right in central or upstate New York. And I was in the PhD program there. And while I was working on the PhD program, I was really interested in kind of critical understandings about criminal justice, criminal injustice. And I knew a lot of local advocacy and activist groups there too. So I started working on my dissertation, which was on the opioid crisis, really from the lens of looking at harm reduction, looking at advocacy groups. So my dissertation's on the opioid crisis and a lot of the transitions in criminal justice and policing and incarceration that try to address the opioid crisis, at times in business as usual drug war practices, but then also at times in trying to be more sympathetic or more treatment oriented. I sat in drug court, for example, probably 30 plus times, seeing how the courts kind of meshed with treatment services, but also seeing how the drug war has continued with treatment services incorporated into policing in courts. So it was definitely a broad ethnography on the opioid crisis and seeing how all of these different responses played out in terms of trying to address it.
And now what are you doing? You're at Arcadia University as a professor, and how do you see the preparation you got from St. Cloud State putting you where you are now?
Well, so I'm at Arcadia University and I'm teaching. I'm kind of entering more into the teaching style of my job, and that's been, and it's interesting because I'm kind of going back and looking at classes I had at St. Cloud State, like research methods or theory, and I'm definitely incorporating that into my own teaching now. When you're in grad school, you're sort of focusing on one theory, one method. So St. Cloud State, I think, gave me a good variety of theory and method that I'm kind of going back and bringing up again in my own teaching. Sitting in classes, in your classes, have influenced me a lot too, in terms of teaching style and having seminar-like discussions and engaging with students. And of course, I'm still doing research and still writing. I first started doing research at St. Cloud State, so I'm always going to be really fond of that and have a memory of when I first started doing interviews. Actually, in a Church of Scientology was my first real project at St. Cloud State. It kind of just set a trajectory, I think, that I've continued up until my own professorship.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly see a connection between your winning an award for writing at the Sociology Minnesota conference in, I think it was 2011, for a research paper you wrote for sociology religion class that I taught.
Yeah.
And now your dissertation. Why don't you tell us what's becoming your dissertation?
Well, so I did win an award for that. Got the dissertation of the year award, grad department. So that's exciting. And I'm hoping to turn into a book manuscript. I've been reformulating it, or I've been turning into a book manuscript. So it should be a book within the next few years that'll be more widely accessible. So yeah, it kind of comes full circle, and it's still as exciting as it was when I got that award in 2011, I guess. But yeah. I remember taking a lot of classes at St. Cloud State, and there was an emphasis again on not just reading, but really designing your own research project. And it felt intimidating at first, but it was something that was very rewarding and was something that I kind of was able to develop in the classes. And yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to do it if it wouldn't have had that set kind of group discussion, encouraging our own projects and kind of coming to our own interests. Yeah, it definitely helped.
What kind of advice would you have for today's students at St. Cloud State in terms of working on their degrees and also thinking about their future?
I think first and foremost, be open to a lot of different perspectives and ideas when you come to the college environment, but also really know what you're passionate about and what you're interested in at the same time. I know it's kind of a vague answer, but I think both parts are really important. Don't be afraid to talk to professors and create relationships. Personally, I'm pretty shy, so it's hard for me to talk to professors, but every time I do, it's very rewarding. I know I went to office hours a lot. I don't think I would have been here. I would be here if I didn't go to office hours. So going to office hours, recognizing that what you're doing is a process you're developing, and you know, you can be able to be in what you're passionate about and what you're interested in. I went to grad school, so that's a whole nother set of advice in terms of looking at schools, in terms of looking at what you're interested in. But I think regardless of what profession you go into, being able to know where you think you might fit and networking and not being afraid to reach out to people if they're working in a nonprofit, if they're working in social work, if they're working in law, if they're working in criminal justice, wherever they are, people are really able to talk. So definitely reaching out and emailing people who are in a profession that you might be interested in is really helpful too. So going to the library is always a good thing too, I think. And
no argument there. No, I think very valuable advice. You know, it's every professor's, you know, dream to see their students not only go on and do well, but do even better than their professors. And so just wish you the best moving forward. And I'm sure you're going to, you know, continue to just have more successes, and look forward to maybe doing another interview in another 10 years.
I'm looking forward to bringing other students now up and trying to get them ahead of me. So
yeah, it's called paying it forward.
Paying it forward, yeah.
Good goal. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Kevin. Congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.